What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum. I'm your host, Nick Deus. At Nick Deus10 as you can find me. VeteransMinimum.com as you can find all things VM. My guy is in the building once again. One of my favorite people to talk hoops with. And keeping the trend of sports jerseys as he pulls up. Josh Williams, what up?
I have to, man. It's the trademark. I told you last time. This is literally trademark.
How the feet? Oh, okay. All right. Let's go. Put them on the desk, both of us.
Put
Jays,
them on
baby.
the desk. Okay, all right.
Jays, now we're talking. It's a good time. Before we start the show, I want to give a big up to Manchester City, even though I'm an Arsenal fan. Up 2-0 at halftime. I will be, because I'm degening, I will be monitoring this as we are recording.
Okay, all right.
Do you bet against your team?
No. Listen, I only bet against my team if I know the fix is in. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, I know we're not going to cover this, or I know. But a lot of times, if I don't feel comfortable, if I feel like we're going to lose, then I'll bet over under, just because then it's like, all right, I can cheer against that.
Okay.
But for me to say, hey, this team's going to cover the spread against my team, the whole time I'm like, I just don't feel right. I feel it feels wrong. And then I'm essentially like, I'm trying to give myself a stroke. Like, no, I'm excited but sad at this. Like, no.
I always tell people that if you could be very honest with the assessment of your team,
Okay.
and you could take the fandom away and your bias, I think you can make a lot of money betting against or for your team.
If you can be subjective.
If you could be subjective, absolutely.
I don't have that muscle.
Fair enough. A lot of people can't, right? So I'll give you an example. The New York Giants, my favorite team. When they are a home underdog, love it. When they're a home favorite, hate it, right? When they play Philly, dude, Philly in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I told everyone when they were asking me, I was like, yo, when you guys ask me for my picks and my thoughts, I'm going to give you my opinion based on if I wasn't a fan. And then I also tell you what I'll do. Like when my buddy Jared fights, I always bet on Jared. But I tell people, I'm like, yo, look, historically, round one, it's very shaky for him. But as the fight continues, he becomes more and more dominant. That's just his style, right? Yeah. There's a lot of guys that you know also that are wild explosive in round one. Then they tend to fade later on. Not the champ Jamal Hill, though. That's a different animal. That's why he's also the champ. So there are situations where if you can be honest with your team, you can make money. I love Arsenal. It's my favorite team. Thierry Henry is my favorite soccer player of all time. Man City is on fire. And they were minus 160 at home. They're up 2-0 at halftime. This kid aged terribly. But with the Giants, when they played Philly in the playoffs, everyone's like, yo, what do you think is going to happen? I'm like, the Giants are either going to win this game or they're going to get their shit punched in by 30. I think they lost by 28. So I took the -7. And I'm like, yo, after the first drive, Philly scored. Giants went for it on like 4th and 8. I'm like, yo, that's a wrap. Cash those tickets. Because I know my team. I know how they are. And I know especially when there's a rival like Philly. Yeah. Man City has beaten them, I think, 11 straight times.
Oh, wow. Beat Arsenal.
Yeah. Arsenal's been a little suspect until this year. They've had this amazing run where
they've had a rough time.
Yeah, they've had a rough time. So the moral of the story is if you can be honest with your team, I think you can make a lot of money. With that being said, let's talk about my team right now, the New York Knicks.
There it is.
Up 3-1.
3-1.
I've been singing the praises of Jalen Brunson for a couple months now. Should have been an all-star.
He definitely should have been an all-star.
It's funny how, well, let me ask you this first before we get into my breakdown. Do you think there are certain teams in all sports that when they make a move, it's laughed at because they are them?
Oh, of course. And historically, you would say definitely the Knicks, outside of if they would have won the LeBron, sweepstakes twice. They had a chance at him. They had a chance at him in 2010, then another chance at him in 2014. Like they had two opportunities to get him, didn't get him. They had chances to get Kevin Durant. If they would have made one of those moves,
they've had chances to get everybody.
Yeah, no, legit. But if they made one of those moves, it wouldn't be laughed at. Because I'll tell you, when they signed Jalen Brunson to that deal last year, I was like, Jalen Brunson literally just had a good playoff. Like, we giving bags for good playoffs now? And then also just the nepotism with his dad on the staff and all of those things. There were a lot of quintessential Knicks hurdles that he had to clear. And he's done it. He's done that, I would say, by leaps and bounds, truthfully. So But yes, the Knicks are one. Let me think if I can think of some others. The Cowboys would be one. You know what I mean? Like certain teams in certain sports. The Mets usually in baseball. If you think about it, like you're like, oh,
two of my favorite teams, just questionable decisions for the 32 years I've been around.
You're a Mets guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My entire family, Yankee fans. My uncle, NYPD.
Okay.
About 30 years in the service with them. They always get tickets. So when I was younger, and I grew up, I would always say Shea Stadium, Citi Field was my backyard. 3 bus stops away in Flushing. I was in Astoria, and I was just so close to it. But also, my mom loved the Yankees. Reggie Jackson, her favorite Yankee of all time.
Okay.
And she would go to games with my dad, too, because my dad, the coffee truck in the city, we have a lot of customers that would just give us tickets to Ranger games, Islander, like the whole 9.
Yeah.
So anytime we would get Yankee tickets, my dad would be like, I'm not taking you, I'm taking mom. And my uncle would always take me to games when I was younger. So just because of proximity to the stadium, and also like my first baseball game was a Met game, I just became a Met fan.
Okay.
So
I was this close to wearing my Strawberry jersey today.
Ooh.
But I couldn't. I was like, what shoes am I gonna wear?
Yo,
I gotta keep the shoes right. And I went. I said Brad Johnson yesterday to myself, and so I stuck to my guns.
You want to hear a hilarious story?
Okay.
You ever seen the sign that went viral of the fans that went to this? Remember that song, "The Coke Boys" by French Montana?
Yeah.
When that song was like a massive hit in New York City. Like,
yes.
yo, you couldn't go an hour on Hot 97 without that shit playing.
Yes.
One of my boys showed up to Citi Field with a sign that said the original Coke Boys, and it's Daryl Strawberry.
And Doc Gooden?
Doc Gooden. They threw him out the stadium.
Oh, no, I never saw the sign, though. Oh, I'll have to find that.
Yeah, it's an iconic viral meme, bro.
Oh,
and that was
funny.
one of my buddies that went. That song was a hit. Like, yo, that song was, I think also the mixtape might have been Coke
I was about to
Boys.
say, French has had some smashes that weren't a part of any album.
Yeah. We call them weird bangers.
Yes.
Just weird bangers.
He has maximized his Fat Joe summertime anthems. I'll give him that.
100%.
Fat Joe has cornered the market on, I'm going to drop a song in April, May, and it's going to run through the summer, and that'll be the year for me.
Oh, yeah. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. Within the next couple of weeks, Fat Joe is dropping now a banger for the summer, and he's also a Knicks fan, too.
Yes, he is. I got to call Fat Joe. He's a good dude. I got to get him on one of these shows.
Jalen Brunson. It's funny that move got criticized while others got praised. Donovan Mitchell going to the Cavs, Murray going to the Hawks. These moves that all went down in the offseason, and then everyone was slandering Jalen Brunson. And now you're looking at it, the Knicks are up 3-1 at the time that we're recording. Everyone feels really good about it. They've outplayed the Cavs at all levels.
By and large, almost like outside of the second half of, what was that, game 3?
Game 2.
No. The game that the Cavs won.
Yeah, game 2.
Oh, that was game 2. Excuse me.
Which also, by the way, going back to the theme we were talking about before about betting against your team and knowing when, I took the Cavs -5.5 that game. You just knew that the Knicks were hyped to steal game 1. They played really well. You knew there was going to be a letdown because the Knicks went into that game thinking like, yo, let's just steal one in Cleveland. And, yo, it's going to be hard for you to win in the Garden. I don't care if you're Miami, if you're Milwaukee, if you're Boston, it's going to be tough because the city loves the Knicks. It gets loud, and when people are dropping $5-6 bills just to get into the building, you know they're going to get their money's worth.
They're giving everything they got.
So it's funny, though, man, that, again, like there are some teams that get slandered for these moves, and now you're looking at Jalen Brunson back-to-back playoffs against Donovan Mitchell. He's outperformed them.
Yes.
By a wide margin.
Yes.
And because I got to show love to Brunson, you're talking about Mitchell was all NBA this year.
Yes,
not
he
first
was.
team or second, but like he's one of the top 15 guys this year.
He was an all-star.
Yeah. Yep.
The other guy was suspiciously left off the roster. So definitely have something to prove for sure. Not even a question.
The theme for this episode is NBA playoff MVPs. Do you have anyone in this series that would win that award for you?
In the Knicks series.
In the Knicks Cavs. Yeah.
Well, so I see when you sent over the list, I thought we were going for just the whole league.
Yeah, no.
So,
if you don't have one, then we just.
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
First off, I have Jalen Brunson as the MVP of the entire playoffs right now.
Yeah.
And my reasoning behind that
Let's go.
goes.
Baby.
That's why I said I was like, I ain't gonna tell you.
Let's
I'm
go,
not gonna tell you
baby.
that before we get on.
Hey.
But he's who I'm going with. And I'll briefly. His numbers haven't been super crazy. Booker, dropping 25 last night in the third quarter and ending up with 41 before, the fourth, and then Jimmy Butler having 50 plus point games. He hasn't had one of those kinds of games. But what he has done, he's gone 27, 20, 21, the game that you guys blew them out, game 3, and then 29. He has been consistently that secondary person to take the pressure off of Julius Randle. Julius Randle can just go score. He doesn't have to be it all falls on me, basically. And I think, listen, I took the Knicks after game 1. I know that's a little bit crazy, but I took the Knicks at 40-1 to win the whole thing.
You're trying to get me switched on. That's what you're trying to do.
I got it at 40-1 because I was like, look, if they get through this round and they have to play the Bucks, that was again game 1. They had to play the Bucks. I was like, they're going to give the Bucks a good run. Now it looks like they might have to play the Heat. If they play the Heat, they're the better team. Now will that happen? Will they move on past that game? I don't know, but I've said on my show at least 10 times, the Garden is different April, May, June. There's no other place in the entire NBA that is anything like that. Tom Thibodeau spoke to that actually on Knicks Fans TV. They posted it, and he was talking about he's been in every arena, and Knicks fans and the energy in the Garden cannot be matched. It's simple. It's no disrespect to anybody's fan base. There's no disrespect to anybody's team, but it's different. And let you guys get through this round. It's going to be a hell of a fight to get y'all out.
The best part about what you said is, obviously I agree, and I know that because born and raised New Yorker,
Yes.
and I've been to the Garden during playoff games. Dude, the Garden is lit when the Knicks were winning like 20 games a year. Now you're talking about you got a guy in Brunson that has revitalized the city. You got a team that could go like 7, 8 deep, maybe even 9.
Yes, legitimately.
Legit, right? And they've gotten nothing from Quickly in this series too, which is wild because he's the biggest X factor on the team. And the reason why I say that is, dude, when you watch the Knicks, when he goes on those stretches like he was doing in the playoffs, not in the playoffs, in the regular season,
Yes.
where he'll have like 11-point quarters
Yes.
off the bench in like 4 minutes. Bro, the Garden goes nuts. There's nothing that, I'm getting goosebumps. There's nothing that sets the Garden off more than a Quickly to OB alley-oop. Oh, bro, nothing beats that.
Why can't Thibodeau please unlock it and give us Obi Toppin and Julius Randle on the floor at the same time for stretches? I don't understand because, right, like, look, you guys have 3 guys on your bench, 3 that each can go get 30. No, I think I said this to you. I might have said this on. There's no one else in the league that can claim that. I don't care who you're speaking. They don't have 3 dudes on the bench that can go drop 30.
You mentioned them being 40-1 to win the title, right?
Yes.
I don't want to get too ahead of myself. However, as we move into the next series, Heat up 3-1. What's crazy, they're up 3-1. They're undefeated at home in Miami. The Miami flu. It's a real thing, bro.
Yeah.
The Miami Heat have the best home court advantage in NBA playoff history.
Really? And they're not even doing white hot right now. Have you noticed that? Like, it's so terrible to look at right now.
They haven't. Based on like the amount of because remember, Miami is what, like 30 years old as a franchise? Like they came around in the 90s?
No, late 80s.
Late 80s.
88,
Okay.
88.
But still, they're not they're not the Lakers, right?
Yes.
So relatively new franchise in comparison to the other ones.
Yes.
There's been stories about when teams got to stay in South Beach for 4 or 5 days. They ain't just staying in the hotel, bro.
South Beach got them.
That Miami flu is a real thing. And dude, I've told this story many times. The Nets were out till 7 in the morning, and then I bet against them when they had the Dion Waiters, Hassan Whiteside, Miami Heat. I hammered the money line at a bachelor party we were down there. They're going to go out, dude.
Yeah.
And that's a big reason. Like, I know it sounds funny, but Vegas had the same thing with the Golden Knights.
Yes.
Those first couple of years, the best, I think they went like 38-4.
Yeah,
in the regular season.
The Vegas flu was legit.
That was legit.
That was
Hell
legit.
Yeah. They won like 19 games in a row at home.
Yeah.
So, Miami, tough place to play in the playoffs, especially when you're there for a couple of days. New York City is the same thing. New York City, people are going out.
Yeah, 1000%.
And that's stuff that's not being accounted for, and like the handicaps and the projections.
Yeah.
And this series, what's crazy is, I don't know if you saw the price on this, but Miami, despite being up 3-1, is only minus 140 to make it past to win the series, despite being up 3-1.
Wow.
Every other team that's up 3-1 is usually like minus 600, minus 700. And the Bucks are the fourth favorite to still win the finals.
That's crazy.
It's the Suns. It's the Suns, the Celtics. No, Celtics, Suns, Lakers now, and the Bucks.
Wow.
That's a little strange, no?
I won't say that's disrespectful, but that's disrespectful. Yeah, I don't to be that low of a favorite, and they're gonna have to, we have 3 bites of this apple to get them out. Yeah, that's weird. Every year there's always a couple lines where you're like, what? That don't make sense.
In a way, though, if you look at it from a betting perspective, the Bucks are 12-point favorites in Game 5.
Yeah.
They'll probably be a 4 to 6 point favorite in Game 6 in Miami. And then Game 7 in Milwaukee, again, they'll be 10. So based on that, the Bucks at plus 130 to win this series, it's enticing. The reason why I'm not going to make that bet, Jimmy Butler. We're talking about NBA playoff MVPs.
Yeah.
I have a funny one later.
Okay.
I have a very funny one later. But he's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that last game that he had, and he was saying, this is my shit.
Yeah.
This is my shit. How do you feel about him as a player? Because one of the reasons why Miami had to play 2 play-in games this year is because he wasn't all that this season.
No.
And come playoff time, bro, we've seen it since he got to Miami. We saw the famous meme of him in the bubble where he's like hunched over. And it's just like anytime someone is carrying a team or anyone to victory, it's always that meme that pops up.
Yes.
But we've seen, bro, ever since he got to Miami, I feel like it's the first team that ever embraced him. And we're like, yo, here are the keys. Here's the keys to the franchise, because in Philly, it was Embiid. In Chicago, he still had like Derrick Rose, kind of.
The shadow of Derrick Rose behind.
And he broke his teeth in the league by being someone that was just like, he was known as the grinder, right?
That's right.
Like, yo, 48 minutes in a game, you're playing 47.
Yeah.
Like, that was his thing. Remember when the Bulls and the Cavs were having those wars?
Yeah.
You just knew Butler was gonna guard your best guy. He was still developing as a scorer.
Yes.
But no one has seen this. What do you make of dudes like that, bro? Because I don't know what the answer is, because he's not a top 10 guy in the league. But now he's like a top 3 guy in the playoffs.
Well, look, I think the main thing is this. There's certain people that lock in a different way. And there's certain people, one, he's a two-way player. So not only am I going to tire out your best player, but then I can go get my own points as well. In the playoffs, that becomes paramount, because we talk about it. Every possession is magnified. Every possession is its own story. So you don't want to just throw possessions away just for the sake of throwing them away. Jimmy Butler, the last 5-6 years, he has been probably one of my favorite players to watch, just because of the compete level on both sides of the floor. Even though he isn't going to consistently go get you 30, he can go get you 50. He's proven it. And then he can also limit your 30-point score to 20, to 18. Or if they got 30, they had to take a crap ton of shots. So there's not a lot of those kind of players in the league anymore. Just Kobe being one, prime LeBron being one. But the league now has moved so far away from defense, where defense is I won't say celebrated, but accepted. I'd say Giannis probably would be one as well, just in terms of what he can do to a game defensively. But it's remarkable. I love to see it. You know what I mean? I always was a Heat supporter up until LeBron got there, and then I had to start cheering against Dwayne Wade, and that hurt. But I definitely always pull for the Heat too.
A couple of months ago, around the All-Star break, I believe they were the 6th seed, maybe the 7th.
Yeah.
And they started playing a little bit better. And dude, I feel like ever since Butler got there, I'm always just putting out that caveat, like, yo, don't forget about Miami. Because they're one of those teams, though they haven't won the championships. You're talking about conference finals, I believe, in 3 of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
You're going to get the shit beat out of you when you play Miami. Which is wild because, like, Miami's kind of like a finesse town. They're kind of soft down there, like, super laid back. They kind of got that, like, L.A. vibe to them. Like, I always called the Chargers and the Rams, like, they're a finesse team. Like, they're not rugged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
it's the culture. We're not going to be rugged and it's 85.
Exactly, right? Like, all the teams,
February.
Boston's rugged, New York's rugged because it's 12 degrees for 6 weeks.
I got Tim's on, B.
Yeah. Yeah, but, dude, Miami is always a team where it's like, yo, look, they lock in, like you mentioned about Jimmy Butler and certain guys locking in. And that Heat culture is a real thing. I know a lot of people in Miami, and they get behind them come this time. There's a lot of shit to do in Miami, right? But come playoff time, it's like, yo, this is our squad. And then that's where you see it come out. Is he your – oh, no, you said Jalen Brunson.
But I did have him.
Butler is I
did have him as one of my my mentions. So my mentions were Jimmy and then Steph. And honorable mention, I guess I'll say LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron.
Honorable mention. You said to give me an honorable mention too. So I was like, I can't not say.
Damn, why don't you like Bron?
There's a long sordid past there. You'll get the story one day. I had to give the story earlier today at FedEx. The woman was like, "Oh, have you met LeBron?" I was like, "Screw LeBron."
Oh, did he not like sign an autograph for you? And you're kind of,
you know, autograph?
Oh,
I don't got no autographs in my crib, dog. Only autographs on my house someone gave me, like, "Hey, put this on your wall." Like, "Oh, okay, thanks, bro." Yeah, no, Jerome. So at 11, when my brother made it to the league, he would not allow me to get autographs.
Oh.
So I did not get any autographs the entirety of my brother being in the NBA. And he always would say it's better for them to know your name, know you, and be a friend than to get their autograph. He was like, they're just like me, so you don't need their autograph. So I never got autographs. I never even got pictures, which in retrospect is a little sad. But yeah, no, nothing. So I didn't really start getting pictures until probably the last 5-6 years when I realized I needed them for branding purposes, because other people are like, "Oh, you took a picture with so-and-so." And it's like, he's my guy. You know what I mean? But it does make other people light up, and it does bring more light to you.
Especially when you're in the content space.
Yes.
Because we had a similar thing earlier this week. Brandon Marshall was in here. He was recording his show.
Yes.
Yo, dope. He was awesome. He showed so much love to the studio and to everyone in here as we were helping him with his show.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't ask for a picture, but also like I'm in a weird spot where mentally I feel like I'm gonna one day talk to these dudes, like on the show. I'll get my picture then. It's always easy to be like, yo, I need a picture for promoting
for the show.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
And like when I went to the Apex earlier this week, shouts to John Orlando. He took me there for the first time. Got to go to the Apex. You've been to the Apex before,
many
right?
times.
Dude, I was blown away.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the aura of being in the Apex and that close. And I never sat that close for a fight, not even a regional fight.
Oh, okay, understood.
Dude, they're throwing punches and leg kicks, and I'm like grabbing, doing all this, like trying to. Like, God damn.
So I went to some of the first fights in the Apex when the Apex first opened, because that was when I was covering UFC, and all the Contender Series fights were in there. I was in the Apex when fans could go in there for free, and now it's like a $10,000 ticket. Shout out to the UFC and inflation.
I ain't paid $10,000.
Oh, I know.
I'd be able to pay
look, that's why when you ask if I'm going, I only go in there now if one of the fighters gets me up in there. I ain't dropping no ducats, I'll tell you that.
Are you more disappointed in Memphis or more surprised by what the Lakers are doing?
Well, I'll say this. Memphis lost that game. What was that, Monday or Sunday? They lost that game simply down the stretch. Ja Morant wanted it to be his moment. There were moments in that game in the flow, you're getting medium breaks, different things, and Ja is driving to the basket, reckless abandon, throwing up nonsense, not getting the fouls. not getting the fouls, but still not necessarily taking the best shots. And he didn't want it to be Desmond Bane's moment. Desmond Bane had put them on his back that game.
I love Desmond Bane, bro.
He had almost 40 points. And
he's such a beast for a couple of years now, too.
Yeah, yeah. Probably 2.5 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
Where his name has been more like, hey, Desmond Bane.
But what's funny is also like we always talk about CJ McCollum being like the ultimate prize in any Blazer acquisition.
Yeah.
And it's not a shot at McCollum. It's just if you want to build around Dame, is he going to be the piece that's going to bring in anyone else? And it's kind of the same thing with Desmond Bane. Like he's the possession that any team that's going to make a trade with Memphis is going to ask for.
Sure.
But they complement each other so well.
They better not trade.
No, I'm not saying they should.
Yeah.
But in order, hypothetical, if they were going to get Luka to come,
oh god,
Dallas is going to be like, yo,
we need Bane and like 37 picks.
Yeah, we want Bane. That's what we want.
For sure. But yeah, no, Desmond Bane, it was his show, and Ja Morant wanted that one shining moment, and it didn't come. Just like it didn't come in Murray State.
He's don't you feel like every time he goes to the paint to dunk on someone, he's blown out something? Bro, he goes to violate people.
Man, look, he is I made a comment, he is so athletically stupid. Like just little average stuff. I'm like, why are you up there? Like this is a rebound. Yeah. I'm boxing out to get a rebound. Ja Morant's like arms are above the basket. I'm like, you don't have to get up that high. It's dangerous to get down.
And isn't it wild how he'll get the ball, he'll like be cutting at the top of the key, and he'll be at the free throw line, and it looks so effortless to him, and then before you know it, he's above, like LeBron going. You're like, holy shit! And then every time he lands, especially now with his arm being hurt, and I do think that's hobbled them a lot in this series.
Yes,
because he can't do what he wants to do, but he's still just wild, reckless. It's fun as hell.
It is fun,
but it's also you're saying to yourself, "Holy shit,
we've seen this story before." And that's the side that like everyone is like holding their breath. Like, please don't be another Derrick Rose. You know what I mean? Because it's about the same stretch. Like I feel like this is about the time where Derrick Rose really started having the injury issues, and it zapped a lot of his athleticism. I pray that doesn't happen for him, but I wish that he would control his output a little bit better, because I think it makes him more dangerous, especially him being the point too. Like, you know, drive and kick, drive and dish off, like the one where Bane came down the middle and he was able to give him the ball back to get that layup to take the lead before LeBron tied the game. That play was like, man, you could be doing that play all the time. Like you don't have to go up in there and always dunk on somebody. Go in there and just hand it off. You've done your job. So we'll see. I'm still that series is I'd say the biggest in terms of one game, because everyone else I feel like, all right, maybe you might win, but it's probably going to be over when it gets to game 6. That one, they win game 5, even though it's at home. It starts to put the onus back on the Lakers. Like, all right, well, you're going to have to put them away. And the Lakers have shown that they not only aren't the best home team this year, but that they can be beaten. So if they mess around and get game 6, now again, you get to game 7 and it's the NBA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that one, be very careful if Memphis wins game 5. If Memphis wins game 5, back up and maybe hold your money.
You want to spend any time on the Sixers being the Nets? Not really, right? Kind of just.
No. I mean, they beat the Nets. You know, yeah, they were supposed to beat the Nets. The biggest thing from that is Embiid and how healthy he is and how's he feeling.
Bro, they put the graphic up. It's like this dude has had I don't want to say massive, but he's had a significant injury every time he's made the playoffs. Remember, he had the mask.
Yeah.
It's a knee. It's his back. Every single time he's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So he's playing more games in the regular season than anyone expected him to. Because that was a big knock on him early on. Like the first couple of years, it's like this dude can't play at all. But if you look at it, he's pretty durable as far as being available throughout the regular season. But then it's so unfortunate because now that's going to be something where you're going to be on your P's and Q's every time you're watching the Sixers.
Yeah. Like, oh no, don't fall, big fella.
Yeah.
Every time, for sure.
Yeah, I don't really want to spend too much on that one. I do want to get to, if we could get an ISO on me over here, please. Very, very kindly, I'm asking. Thank you. I want to pat myself on the back for calling the Suns winning in 5.
Here we
I
go.
told you in 4, but it was in 5. You know I had to give it to you too, because you was feeling good early on. You were feeling really good.
Text. You got that text.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. Of course I got that text.
You got that text. You were like, hey, he did call that. Listen. There's only so much I can do when, my man tears his meniscus, dog. There's only so much I can do. And Russ almost put him on his back and got a game.
Hey, I asked you about honorable mention. He's my honorable mention. I've been pretty anti-Russ for a couple of years. It's 5 teams in 5 seasons for him.
Yeah.
But, man, how much of it is it because it was Durant that he got up for this?
No, that definitely has something to do. But, how much of it really was this might be the last shot? You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
It might be that this might be it. There are no guarantees. These other guys, Kawhi's already got his ring. Paul George, man, I don't think rings were ever really that serious for him anyway. But a lot of these guys, they've already got their rings. Durant's already got his rings. So it's in that generation, it's Chris Paul, Russ, Melo, I guess, is still out there if he decides to play. But all those guys, they don't have many more bites at the apple, man. It's over for them. So for him, he had to pick up Kawhi, but that was also before I thought Kawhi had really injured himself. Kawhi really injured himself. They were done. They just were kind of being coy about it and not telling us what the injury was. But if he tore his meniscus, that's it. He ain't coming back. You know what I mean? They kept trying to act like he might come back. He tore his meniscus. He was done. So if that was the case, they were finished.
It's so unfortunate if you're a Clippers fan because the excitement when you got Paul George and Kawhi fresh off the Raptors series,
yes,
might have been the highest we've seen of any fan base in a long time. Steve Ballmer was wilding out too.
Yeah.
How could you not? Yeah.
All the claps and stuff, all the tongue out claps.
How could you not? But now you're looking at it. They both made $42 million this year. Next year, it's bumping up to 46. And based on how his career is playing out right now, I'm probably going to break some news and say that Kawhi Leonard in 2 years is going to pick up his player option for $49 million.
Of course,
because you ain't with this injury history. It's my favorite when you hear people say, "Oh, this player picked up his player option." Like Kyle Lowry, his player option is going to be close to $50 million. It's yeah, no shit, he picked it up. He's 38 now.
I'm not turning down that money.
Yeah.
Period.
5 years from now, Damian Lillard, $62 million player option. Let's be early to the party so I can clip this 5 years from now. He's going to pick up his player option for $60 million because he's going to be 36, 37.
Oh.
Yeah.
You hate to see it.
If you're Dame, you love to see it. If you're Dame, you're like
the owners.
The owner is miserable, dude. The owner got to be miserable, and so does the fan base too. Because on a serious note, you can't make any other moves because you're looking at you're
stuck.
You're looking at your book and you're saying, oh, "Damn, that's $83 million for these two guys, and they never play in the playoffs."
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate though.
It sucks. What I will say though is that new arena. When they get in that new arena.
That's what you text me also.
Yeah, when they get in that new arena, I just pray.
It's going to be dope when it's John Wall and Man.
No, John Wall's gone.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be Zubats.
Yeah. Zubac and Man as they're going to be on the graphic that they flash.
The ghost of SGA will be in there.
The Elton Brand jersey is going to get dangled up into the ceiling too. And the Clipper curse.
Man, I really, really wanted the Clippers to win too. I really, really did. But yeah, that was unfortunate. I have to give you your flowers. You won. You won that one, I guess.
I did get lucky because their two best players got hurt, right? However,
a win's a win.
A win is a win, baby. A win is a win. Cash that. Do you know who my NBA playoff MVP is?
Who?
Kendall Jenner.
Okay, go ahead and.
Hey, man, listen, nothing motivates a dude more than heartbreak. And Devin Booker is averaging 37.5 points in this series, and he's putting up 40 spots on people. In LA also, because he knows that she's probably lurking somewhere in the stands. Like, all right, y'all gonna learn. Yo, he's been MVP is Booker.
Do you think so?
Yeah, dude.
I guess
he's doing it on both ends on the floor too.
Look, yeah, I get by today's
standards. Yeah, fair. Look, he ain't no Gary Payton, but he's doing his thing. And even though Durant is there, it's clearly his team.
Oh yeah.
You talk about the sets all the time, which now when I watch basketball, I watch it from that perspective too. So shout out to you. You taught me something about that I never thought of. You see how many plays are ran up for those guys. And then it's like, oh. So that's why he's also getting 47.
I'm getting 30 chances. This is my play.
Yeah.
I'm getting 30 possessions where it is me. And then unless they take me away, somebody else can get a chance. But it's for me.
I had asked you, and we kind of skipped over it, but this was the one team that when I was thinking about this segment was the one that I wanted to highlight. Booker, Paul, and Durant, they're running these dudes into the ground, bro. They're playing a ton of – they also have to because they gutted their team to bring KD, so that's also what has to happen. They have like a 7.5 man rotation that they put out. Do you think that's going to be something that holds them back?
You were saying what stops these teams from winning?
Yes.
Going all the way.
Yes.
Bench scoring is what I had written down for the Suns. The Suns, in the 5-game series, their bench scored 8 in game 1, 13 in game 2, 18 in game 3, 9 in game 4, and 22 in the closeout game. Their bench scoring, back to your point, when you have to rely on your main core 4 to do everything. So if we're saying in today's NBA, you got to score about between 110 and 120 points, we're asking 4 dudes to be responsible essentially for 108 points every game. That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and especially as these teams get better and especially as –
Bingo.
You know what I mean? Like it's –
Yep.
The Clippers, they traded some good pieces off their team, you know what I mean? And then their stars were hurt, and they still were in every game. Like, I turned on that game yesterday at 86-86, and that's when they ran off to the 18 in a row, and I was like, so it's my fault. All right, got it. I'll eat that. But I turned it. I got back. When I checked the final score, and they came all the way back, lost by 6. Like, they were in every game. So it's not like they were just dog walking them and we're breezing through to the next round.
Isn't it the best when you just mush a team? Because I had tweeted out the D'Angelo Russell in game 4 where he had like 11 straight points in the fourth quarter. He was blowing them.
Yes.
And I tweeted out, this is going to be remembered as the D'Angelo Russell game. And then he missed like 3 straight jump shots after. I was like, oh, this aged horribly.
And then he fouls out.
Of course. Yeah. It was the best. It's the best. It's the best when that happened.
I was like, how's he have 5 fouls already? It's like the third quarter. Like, what in the world was going on with D'Lo?
Unbelievable. Is there anything else in the NBA you want to discuss? Because I feel like for the most part, those are some of the storylines I wanted to touch on. Atlanta, Trae Young's been awesome. And
yes, Trae Young.
I don't know where this was in the regular season. Another guy who kind of was just on cruise control.
I don't know. Like, there's been some stuff. There's been some whispers that his teammates don't care for him that much in Atlanta.
Oh,
that I've been hearing, and so then there's been some stuff in that locker room. We talk about John Collins. But then, DeJounte Murray wasn't necessarily setting the world on fire. And you talked about last summer when that move happened, it was like, oh my God, the Hawks could be a problem. And then they were a problem.
Yeah, but not the problem that you wanted.
Not the problem that you wanted. But Boston did not need to get into a war. I will tell you that. They did not need to get into a war and then have to go up against Philly, who's well rested. The Philly's coming off of a week off. That's not going to be fun. If they mess around and don't put them out right here, even if they do advance, they're going to be exhausted. I don't care how you spin that. So we'll see.
Remember the last time we recorded, I made an emphasis on betting teams down 0-2 in the first half.
Yes, you did. And I reposted that like 4 times.
Hey, that went 3-0.
Did it?
Yeah.
So I know that the Warriors did it.
The Warriors did it. The Hawks did it.
The Hawks did it too. Yes.
The Nets did not do it. However, I didn't bet the Nets because the Nets are not a good team.
Yeah,
we're talking about teams that can actually score, and it was going to be a home game for them where it was like 70% 76ers fans in Brooklyn.
That's true too.
Again, this trend goes all the way through the playoffs. But the books have caught on now because in game 3, the Golden State Warriors were minus 310 to win the whole game. So usually when you bet the first half, it's about half whatever it is, right?
Okay.
So they were a 8-point favorite. Usually the first half would be 4.
Sure.
They're minus 310. Usually it'd be like minus 170, minus 180. For this, 7-point favorite in the first half. Whole game is 8. And the money line was minus 280. They're like, these sons of bitches. They don't want to give us nothing, Josh. They don't want to give us no free game ever.
No free lunch.
All these casinos and these sports books being renovated every 3 weeks. They don't want to give us none. They want it all.
Vegas is not built on the backs of winners. It's not built on the backs of winners. I'll tell you that right now.
The 76ers are going to have a long layoff before they play game 1.
Yes.
That's something I also like doing, especially if the Celtics, they would have played more recent.
Sure.
So look, first
the
quarters,
rhythms, the rhythms.
First half, that first game. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
A spot that I like is when a team gets a 4 or 5 game series win, and then the other team gets pushed to 7, and 2 days later they got to play. And then you're looking at it, well, this team just played 2 nights ago. The other team hasn't played in 8 days.
Yeah.
Oh, they come out rusty, man. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. That's why NBA playoff betting is my favorite. Because you blindly bet spots. You don't bet numbers. You don't bet the teams. It's the spot. It's the rarest situation in sports betting, in my opinion, the NBA playoffs where, it's Miami.
Yeah.
It's New York. It's a place like Boston, hostile environments where this team is going in there fresh. They're rested, but they're going to be a little sloppy.
Yeah.
Because you haven't shot a jump shot
timing,
in 6 days.
To your timing. Your timing is off for sure.
Let's get to the Patreon before we close out with some NFL, because I definitely want to talk some NFL with you. Big ups to the members of the Patreon. We got Thomas Robinson, Nick Crummage, Mike Wozniak, Jordan Riley, Devin Rendon, Derek Platees, Christopher Velasquez, Ben Kotzian, Abel Rezin, Nick Chavez, and my guy, Daniel Gibson. Thank you so much for your contributions. Everybody to the Patreon. Support for VM comes from the Patreon. Patreon.com/veterans minimum. And that's the last time I'm going to say Patreon on this episode because I've just been going off with the P word.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Hey, by the way, Man City 3-0.
I'm not happy for you. This wry smile that you have, like the fan in me is quite disturbed.
Listen, man.
How much money are you gonna get if you clear that
Well,
one?
we'll recover from what happened this weekend. That's for sure. This weekend was not nice.
Okay,
it was not nice, but that is part of the game. Okay, we have the NFL draft. The people that know my content know that this is one of the least favorite 10-day stretches of the year for me.
Okay.
And it's because I am not a fan of draft grades. I think it's the dumbest thing we have to do in sports content. I also do it because I capitalize on it being trending and it helps the content and it helps it go viral or get more attention. However, I do not like doing it. The reason why I don't like doing it is because, in my opinion, could be wrong, I don't think anyone knows anything.
Yeah. Not collectively, I'd say, like where there's a consensus thought or opinion.
Bro, you don't know. You can't tell me that this 21-year-old kid is going to be a bust or he's going to be the next LaDainian Tom. You really don't know. The history of the league in the last this is first round picks. I've talked about this all the time. But I'm talking about first round picks the last 20 years. It's 32 picks. A third of those guys are not going to get a second contract with their team. Hell, I'd say most of them are going to be out the league. We're talking about first-round picks now.
That's right. The first 32.
The first 32. A third of the first round is going to be all Pro Bowlers. I'm going to group them together. And when I say Pro Bowl, I don't mean fan voting. I mean you were one of the better players.
Yes,
we
all consider you the best at your position.
For that
one
season,
of the best. Yes.
So that's another third of the league. And then the last third of the first round is, all right, we got a nice left guard. We don't need to address that position. You ain't Quentin Nelson, right? You ain't Zach Martin, but you're competent. You could start on a playoff team.
You
right?
could start. You could start on almost any team outside of those two teams.
Exactly. That's the history of the first round, bro.
Yeah.
The Seattle Seahawks in 2012.
Go ahead and give it. That was crazy when you told me that before.
Their draft grade for that class was an F. They drafted Bobby Wagner, Bruce Irvin, and Russell Wilson.
And were any of those even first round picks? I don't think either.
Bruce Irvin was the worst first round pick in recent memory, they said. They gave him an F. Bobby Wagner made the All-Pro team, I think, every year he was there. Russell Wilson made Seattle have 6 primetime games every year. Like, who cared about? Bro, prior to him getting there, Seattle they were known for the Beastquake.
Hasselbeck.
And then Hasselbeck, right?
Sean Alexander.
Yeah, Sean Alexander. Most random jersey I own.
Wow.
I have a white Sean Alexander jersey,
Fair
which
enough.
probably doesn't even fit you. It was like a size 64. Back in the day, 4XL, 5XL.
We had our jerseys
12-year-old in 6th grade.
God, our jerseys were so ignorant.
It's like, bro, that's a dress. Like, that's not a jersey.
No, we were talking about that. Remember, you got to remember, back in those days, man, we had the clips. We had the phone, the phone clip. And I would give you the drapery.
Drip,
the drapery.
Yeah.
You would drape it around the clip.
The one side dangled all the way down. The other side got tucked in. Come on, baby. 04 drip. You heard?
Don't you ever disrespect me.
Come on now. But yo, you don't feel that way about draft grades, honestly? Like, do you really know?
No,
honestly, I thought Josh Rosen was going to be
a stud,
the chosen one, right?
And he was absolute dog food.
I also thought that Sam Darnold was going to be a beast. I didn't like Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Giants taking Saquon number 2 overall. So you're looking at it and you're like, yo, bro, do you really know? Everyone boos when an offensive lineman gets taken, and it's like over 60%. The safest pick you can make in the first round is an offensive lineman.
Is the stud offensive lineman.
It's the one that has the least amount of, he's off the team in 4 years.
No, that is very true.
Even Eric Flowers, he ended up becoming competent after he left the Giants. It was a nightmare
on
with
my
Giants.
team.
Yeah, of course. He was on your team. Yeah. Why not? He goes to the division rival, and now he can block.
That's right, because he was a Cane, man. we are a team of the Canes in DC. So as soon as he got there, I was like, this is gonna work out just fine.
Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? How do you feel about draft content?
I think well, first off, I'm a Redskins fan, so I love the draft. This is
always
actually
picking high, yeah.
This is a holiday for me. I'm like, oh, this could be it, baby. But then at the same time, I hate the draft because your team. Last year I wanted us to take Jameson Williams, because we had 11. We traded back to 16, and I forget. I think we traded with the Ravens. The Ravens took Kyle Hamilton, and then 12, the Lions took Jameson Williams. I was like, God dang it. And in retrospect, Jahan Doston was a great pick. He got hurt a little bit too. Jameson Williams was coming off of injury.
Just got suspended for gambling.
Yes, he did. I meant to talk about that on Monday. Yeah. And then Shaka Toney got suspended for the whole season on my team. It was Lions and Redskins. That was it. Lions and Commanders. Excuse me.
Listen, man, he's one of us though. Jameson Williams. And by us, I mean a degenerate. Calvin Ridley also. That's wide receiver 1 for me, bro.
Well, and they were gambling on the NFL.
I know Calvin Ridley.
Well, no, the ones that got suspended for the year were gambling on the NFL. The others were just sports gambling. Like the ones that got the 4 game, I think it was the 4 or 6. They were like Jameson was suspended for just sports betting, and I'm like, these dudes can't sports bet.
Bro, it's crazy because I'm not going to mention any names.
Fair enough.
But the Pro Bowl was here in town.
Yes.
So a lot of dudes making it rain at the craps table, the roulette table, and it's more devastating over there because there's an area here in the Wynn where for you to go and sit there, it's $100K minimum. Jesus. So I did the most like slime ball thing. I took a picture. I sent it to one of my buddies because it was his favorite team. I go, hey man, Adam Schefter don't get this kind of scoop. When they hold out for more money, this is why. Them tables in Vegas got them, bro.
Oh my gosh.
So why is that okay?
Yeah.
But if I'm on the Cowboys and I want to bet 10K on the Suns, why is that? I'm not betting on my sport.
Yeah.
I'm not betting on my team. Like, why is that not okay?
Outside of my sport, I don't understand. That I don't get. My sport, it's a slippery slope. So I get that. 100%.
Bro, 1,000%.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't
even
bet
if
on
it
your
isn't,
sport.
yeah, even if it isn't, but I have inside information over here.
Yeah.
Like, so-and-so's my boy and he's hurt, but they ain't putting it in the report. So he's out there half playing. I'm going to bet against him.
But dude, there was a video surfacing last week before the Tank and Ryan fight of either Errol Spence or Crawford is sitting in the row in front of Garcia. And they put like 20 bands on Tank, and Ryan bet 20K on the other guy, and it's like that's technically a bet, right? They made a bet. It wasn't at a casino or a sports book, but that's his sport.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like, so betting on your sport, I think, is a no for sure. However, I don't see a problem with it if I'm in Vegas with the boys and Mike Trout is my guy. Why can't I bet on the Angels? Like that is wild to me. That I don't agree with.
What I will say is, please do not get it misconstrued that these guys aren't having their own people bet on whatever it is that they want them to bet on. So I mean, these bets are gonna happen either way, as long as it isn't really impacting the integrity of the game. I don't have a problem with it. But if it's like homeboy like fumbled the ball 5 times, randomly down the stretch and like started just, missing targets, like then it's like, all right, hold on now. Let's go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage and see what we got. But, outside of those situations, I don't know. But it is a slippery slope. I get both sides.
Bro, I remember when the Packers played the Dolphins this year. And remember that second half Tua had?
Yeah.
He had like 4 turnovers in a row.
Yeah.
Everybody on Twitter was like, this is going to get investigated. And then it turns out like the dude had a wild concussion.
Yeah.
It was like his 3rd concussion in 10 weeks.
It did get investigated.
Like, yeah, it did get investigated.
We got to the bottom of that.
But he wasn't point shaving. He just was seeing 9 different players all in one area when there was only 2 of them. That's why he threw 3 interceptions in a row.
Oh, my God.
So I'm excited for the draft in the sense of it's always fun. I like keeping tabs on round 2, round 3, round 4. Dude, the Chiefs last year, all the guys that they drafted recorded a stat in the Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
So if you go to their box score, the 2 guys in the secondary, Pacheco, Sky Moore, an offensive lineman, that's why Kansas City's window is going to remain open. Because, you're paying Mahomes north of $50 million. But now you're having these guys on rookie contracts contributing.
Yeah.
That's why. And, to end the show with this, Carson Palmer comes out. I was a big Carson Palmer fan. I always like Carson Palmer. Comes out and he says Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL. And then it became a talking point on all the networks, all these podcasts. And I was just, I'm listening, I'm watching. I'm like, did number 15 retire?
He died.
Like, why? Why do we have these combos? I get it. You want it slow. So I always say slow news day, huh?
Big time slow news day.
Joe Burrow is unbelievable.
And you love Joe Burrow.
You
talked about him on my show. You love Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow is everything we think he is and some.
Yes.
Right? Joe Cool, the whole 9. He ain't the best quarterback in the league, bro. We need to stop doing this in sports media. We need to stop trying to just crown him, dude. Yeah. You want to crown him? Crown him. What was that? Dennis Green, right?
Yeah.
You want to crown him?
Crown their ass.
It's clearly Mahomes. And I know what people are trying to do. They're trying to create these narratives and these talking points and to drive I get that. But come on, let's not lie to the people too. It's Pat by I think it's Pat. And then it's Joe Burrow starts that list with like Josh
Josh
Allen.
Allen, Lamar.
You could put Jalen Hurts.
Yes, Jalen Hurts probably.
He's in that too,
there.
right? But that to me is the breakdown. Like, come on, let's not stop the cap.
I think really what it comes down to is people see greatness so long, and then you start to try to poke holes where holes may or may not even really exist. But I just got to find something because we got to talk about it. So, it's crazy. Now, granted, I will say Joe Burrow has had the better of the matchups between the two quarterbacks, but by far, Patrick Mahomes is not the lesser of the two quarterbacks. Now, when their two teams have met up, both those two teams, the Chiefs had to go through them this year to win. The Bengals went through them last year to get to the Super Bowl. Like, that you can kind of say that if that's what you're going to say, okay. I can at least kind of see where you're trying to get at. But to say that Joe Burrow is a better quarterback as if he doesn't have 4 studs offensively with him as well. Daggone freaking Patrick Mahomes was throwing to me and you at points this past season in the was it the conference finals game or conference championship,
MVS.
like where everyone got hurt.
Yeah.
And he was like literally like just strap in and pray. He was literally throwing to Andy Reid. Like it was crazy.
Yeah,
So,
backup tight ends, the whole nine. Yeah, because Kelsey was carrying an injury also. It's just wild to me, man. I don't really like those conversations. And I do think that Burrow and Mahomes now is this generation's Peyton and Brady. It has to be. Like Burrow, I think this is their window is this season. Because then you're looking at T. Higgins, Chase, and him. Could be close to $100 million a year. Just those three guys.
And Joe Mixon, staying on the right side of the law.
Yeah. But they've already lost pieces in the secondary. They lost Jesse Bates, who's a cornerstone for them.
They did lose Jesse Bates.
But I think Burrow and Mahomes are this generation's Peyton and Brady. They wanted to crown Josh Allen. They're still in discussion too. He just broke up with his girl too, so he's gonna be motivated.
Dang, that's crazy.
The two things I bet on: guys going into their contract year, and when they get their heart broken. I'm all in, baby. D-Book. D-Book NBA playoff MVP. Shouts to Kendall Jenner. Hey, man, this was a hell of a show. I had a really good time. I love chopping it up with you. See you in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
Have you back on. And
maybe right before the conference finals or like right as the second round's wrapping.
Yeah. Or basically how this one went down, too.
Okay, all right.
Where can they find you on social media and your content?
Man, look, the American Fan 365, we're on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and continuing to build this. I'm trying to build here and just keep growing it. So I always appreciate the time and the platform. So,
it's good vibes, bro. My Patreon members, I said I wasn't gonna say the P word again, but they show a lot of love. And also the guys that help create some of the content with me, the editors, like, yo, we like it when Josh comes on. You guys got good chemistry.
I appreciate
you're a little flawed with the teams you root for, but listen, look, not everybody's perfect.
Hey, listen, look. My brother played on the Knicks. I will always root for the Knicks. Jordan and Patrick, that time is over. I hated the Knicks. I hated Pat Riley and his slick back hair, and Charles Oakley, who is now a good friend. Like, I mean, the hate has to subside. We gotta put the hate aside.
That's exactly it. That's the best way to wrap up this show. Thank you all for listening. We'll catch you guys next time.
I never told you why. I never told you the Giants cost me a relationship, did I?
No.
Yeah. Oh, fuck Ahmad Bradshaw. Legit, yeah. Yep. No, I was dating a girl.
The outro? What do you mean? But where should I start from?
Just wherever you feel comfortable, just because the outro felt weird.
Okay.
It's kind of like it felt rushed. Does that make sense?
But I don't know where to pick up from. Do you mean like my last? Okay.
Interesting. Now, you're saying that you're going to start doing live shows in here too?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
what I want to do for the NBA Finals is try to go live for Game 1.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll put the game on there, put it up on YouTube just to see, maybe promote it.
You should do that for the NBA. You should do that for the NHL.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of stuff that I would love to do.
Okay. Yes. Okay, cool. Okay. Cool. We're good? That's the best way to wrap up this episode. As far as I go, at Nick Dayas 10 as you can find me, veteransminimum.com as you can find all things VM. Josh, I got to say the P word one more time. Patreon, you can catch next week's episode up now. The next 2 weeks' episode up now. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah. No,
You look out for me too much.